Welcome to episode 23 of the Unfake It Till You Make It podcast. I'm your host, Tony Soriano, and today we talk about donuts and robots.
This podcast will talk you through the ups and downs in the entertainment industry.
Each and every one of you has a talent, but it's a tough business. People gonna tell you, get a real job.
By introducing you to sustainable, moldable methods in a crazy, cutthroat world.
Let us harness our willpower and take real action.
Don't let it get you down.
Join me, brothers and sisters, on a journey through trials and tribulations.
Unfake it till you make it.
Welcome, everybody. Today is apparently International Podcast Day. I got an email. Perhaps it's fitting that we celebrate with donuts and robots. But first off, I want to thank everyone for listening and ask if you enjoy this podcast. The content, the guests, the iconic Lemonhead, or my concupiscence for personal growth, to please leave a comment on iTunes or Stitcher and tell me what you think so more people can see what the show's about and be inspired to learn and grow from our guests. It really helps when you leave a comment or share this podcast, and I can't thank you enough. Okay. My guest today is Eric Joyner at Eric_S_J on Instagram, and he is a contemporary American artist who is best known for his artwork, which focuses on robots and donuts with beautiful background imagery. He's created over 350 paintings, and some of which were purchased by praised and renowned film directors J.J. Abrams as well as George Lucas. Some of his artwork has been featured in the hit TV show The Big Bang Theory and has made international headway, like when Dunkin' Donuts from Korea pitched him to contribute to their promotional products. I met Eric at one of his downtown art shows after I stuffed my face with too many free donuts. I approached him with an encomium that basically comprised of, hey, I'm fascinated by your work, and I really want to hear all about how you unfaked the art world and how you arrived at this point in time. And please be on my podcast. So here we are, months later, and without any further introduction, please enjoy my all-inclusive conversation with Eric Joyner. And I'm happy to have you on the show. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. It's great to be here.
Yeah, and you are here in San Francisco. I'm here in LA, right?
Yep.
How's San Francisco? What's going on there?
Well, the Salesforce convention just ended, and that was quite a fiasco, I guess, because at this moment it's kind of foggy out. But have you heard about the Salesforce thing?
I have not.
Well, it's this huge company that branches all over the world, and they built a 1,000-foot tower here in downtown San Francisco, and right next door there's a $2 billion Salesforce. I think it's called it's a big transit center, and they were hoping to use that, and it was completed a couple of weeks ago, and it turns out there's these huge cracks in the foundation, in the support beams, so they couldn't use the $2 billion. It's actually it's like a Transbay terminal where all the buses and trains are supposed to come.
Oh. So basically, it seems like a lot of money was put in, but nothing's happening with it.
Yeah, and also, the bullet train may or may not ever get here. That's what it's built for.
Wow. Okay. Yep. And so how about this question? What is your second favorite donut?
Well, second. I'd have to say probably just a regular glazed. And I have to apologize. What's that noise? Truck?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you're hearing some stuff there, we have a truck passing by here and there.
My first favorite donut isn't even a donut.
What is it?
Apple fritter.
Apple fritter. Okay. I mean, it's relative. That's pretty funny. Oh man. I love donuts, but I try to minimize them, just have them every now and then because
Oh, I know, me too.
Now, I would ask what your favorite robot is, but that's kind of an odd question. I don't know if that works. Does it?
I don't know. I'm not. People think I'm a huge robot guy. I am sort of, but not really. The only reason I paint robots, I mean, I use them in my paintings is so I can paint the backgrounds.
Ooh.
I like nature. I like, the environment. Robots are just robots. And actually, they're not really even robots. They're just tin toys.
I see. That makes sense.
And I try to bring them to life. And it's kind of, I try to entertain myself. And it's a challenge, for sure, to keep it going for 18 years or whatever it is now.
Yeah. So I have several thousand questions, but you brought up something. So as a kid, were you like dreaming of donuts and robots, and you wanted to paint them? How did that start?
Well, when I was a kid, I didn't have any robots, but I did always like the future I liked, science fiction movies on TV shows as opposed to, Westerns. But I never had any great toys like robots. And I didn't really have, my first one was when I was in art college. I went to a flea market with some friends, and I just thought they really stood out. It was kind of like a beacon and like a lighthouse. And I saw this robot. It's kind of weird, but I just really liked it. And I continued to collect them for like the next 15 years. And when I became a fine artist that's when I decided to start actually painting them. As for the donuts, I just, it's my favorite treat as a kid.
I'm sure many people love the donuts. Now, do cops really love donuts as much as they're portrayed to?
I think maybe they do, but it's hard. I never really interviewed any. I haven't asked. But
I mean, I've never seen a cop eating a donut in my life, but I mean, I don't go around hunting for them, so.
Every so often, somebody will send me a photo of cops parked in front of a bakery.
That's funny. That must be nice. Now
I still haven't done a painting of a cop eating a donut.
Oh, yeah. I think you have to, but maybe they should be. Oh, wait a minute. I mean, okay, I don't know if I should be throwing out your ideas, but what about like a robot cop that's eating a donut somehow?
Oh, yeah.
That would be cool.
I know there's one or two toy robots that are cops, and I could use those.
Oh, great. I thought you were going to say, I know a couple robot cops I could paint. Oh, that might be more than a couple.
Yeah.
So you have a Kickstarter I came across, and it looks really cool and exciting about video games, donuts, and robots. Can you give me the rundown and how that started and what it's about? Sure.
There's a guy over in the East Bay. He worked at Immersion, which is a high-tech company in Silicon Valley, and he's been a big fan of my work for years and years, and he used to read my book to his son. And he and his son would make up stories for the paintings. And anyways, in the past 5 years, he's been kicking around the idea of a video game for my art, a computer game, I should say. And I like games too. I used to play them back when I had time, but I've ran out. I don't have time anymore. I would love to, but anyways, I think it's a perfect fit to have, because the possibilities are endless in the levels, different environments, which is what I really like. And the thing is, though, it's not enough to just have robots going around collecting donuts. There has to be something a little bit more interesting. So I thought really, like having really fun deaths, like being smashed by a donut or
that's cool.
Or like a big, hand from above, screwing around with you while you're trying to collect donuts or, basically every kind of way, different varieties of backgrounds, variety of robots, variety of endings, I should say. If you fail to pass a test, something bad's going to happen.
That would be fun.
You get crushed by a 300-foot tall donut.
Do you remember the Simpsons game? There's like a level where there's these, I'm pretty sure there's these donuts. They're going up and down, and they're kind of like maddening donuts, and they're either chasing you. It's just a little part of this one level.
I haven't seen it, no.
Yeah, you should check it out. I think it was the Simpsons for Nintendo. There's got to be on YouTube some kind of clip, And yeah, I think you're in a mall. There's definitely hats going up and down. You have to go past the hats, and I'm pretty sure there's these donuts. It's like a childhood donut memory for me.
Cool. I'll have to look for it. I will.
I'll find it. I'll put it in the show notes here on my website.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that'd be funny. So then, now how far are you with the Kickstarter? It's still going, isn't it?
Yeah, I have like 17 days to go.
Cool.
And to be honest, I'm not sure if it's gonna, we're gonna reach the fund goal. So what we'll do is, if it doesn't, we'll. But I still have a few cards up my sleeve, though. I'm doing a huge commission for the vice president of electronic arts, and I was thinking they could sponsor it if they, would give them publishing rights, say. And also Dunkin' Donuts of South Korea could be, I could put an ad in the game for them, for, if they wanted to sponsor it.
Dunkin' Donuts, South Korea.
But so these things could develop in the next 17 days.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you guys have raised, a good chunk. So now will that help other investors and see skin in the game?
What do you mean?
Like if you approach, I don't know, someone at the commissions and you show them how far your Kickstarter is, they might be more willing to invest because they see, wow, you've already done this, you got this going.
Yeah. I think it could help. Yeah, I'm delivering the painting this coming Wednesday.
Yeah. So and do they know about the Kickstarter yet?
Well, it's the wife does, but I shouldn't even talk about this. It's a surprise gift.
Wow. Okay.
Supposed to be a surprise.
Oh well, we'll keep it that way.
I've talked to her about it, and she thinks it's a great idea. She said she would definitely talk to her husband about it.
Cool. Yeah, 17 days. I mean, that's a lot of days, actually. These things can go multiple directions, of course. Is this your first Kickstarter?
Yeah. I had an opportunity a few years back. This company, Pretty in Plastic in LA, they made a really awesome action figure or a designer toy of one of my paintings, and but I just didn't have time to run a kick. I can't take a month off to do Kickstarter.
Yeah, I know it takes a lot of dedication. So how involved are you as far as running this one, or is your friend that's pushing the video game more? Is he kind of taking things?
He's doing most of it, but I do. He comes over like twice a week and we talk. He lives in the East Bay, and we do a lot of emailing back and forth. Mm-hmm. He's doing all the other stuff, the promotion.
Okay.
He designed the Kickstarter. Of course, I had to work with him to design the reward system. Mm-hmm. And
that's cool. What's one of your favorite rewards for people backing this project?
Oh, the book, I guess. Definitely, the book is a great deal.
Yeah, I saw that. Looks great.
I'm not I have to. The highest one is I have to do a painting for somebody.
Ooh, that's cool. Now, do they get to pick like the idea, or is it your idea?
Well, they can have a kernel of an idea, and I just expand upon it. And
wow, that's awesome.
I forgot. There's a set square inch, whatever it's a 24 by 24 inches in any shape.
That's a good gift. Wow.
Yeah, somebody bought it too. So.
Oh, cool. Oh man, I hope you guys get the goal so you can do that. Yeah,
me too. It would be great. I think the game would just be so much fun. It would be, it would be endlessly interesting as well, and funny. So, but however, plan B is we're gonna just work. We already have a team in Germany, in Munich, that wants to build it, and they've already helped. We talked to them about how it would play. And
yeah, that would be very entertaining. I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's a lot of challenges also. That'd be cool if there was some kind of, maybe you guys have some like mine challenges in between like the racing levels or whatever. Some donut mine challenges. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm always open to any ideas. That goes for my paintings too.
Wow.
I'm like a sort of like a Unix of artists. So. What an open source.
Wow. No, that's a good quality. I know a lot of artists, we see it one way and that's it.
Well, I kind of, over the years, I kind of appreciate input because I'm running out of ideas, frankly.
So how do you stay creative, and any special things you do before you start a project or something that keeps you going? Can you give us some talk about that?
About the only thing that, I think it's important to recharge by like just not working, going on vacation, or seeing old friends, or relatives, and that. Otherwise, it can become a grind because I work all the time. I have commissions backed up for over a year. So,
wow,
it's kind of daunting, and it's I feel like sometimes you feel like your life is kind of passing by, and all you do is work. That's not.
Yeah, it has to be balanced.
Yeah.
So I know nothing about like how that stuff works. I've always wanted to paint a canvas, have not yet, and a little later I'd love to ask you some ideas of like how to get started. But as far as when you start becoming a professional, and like how do commissions work, or how do you handle them? What's a good idea or route to take, or any mistakes you learned from?
Oh, it's not that complicated, but I can tell you how I do it, which is I lay down the rules. There's a deposit before I do anything, and then of 1/3, and then a 1/3 payment after I submit an approved sketch or drawing for the and then we possibly do changes, and then the final third is paid upon delivery of the painting. But other than that, I ask the client gives me a kernel of idea or something in their life that's interesting, or that they feel strongly connected to, and I try to put it into the painting. But the main rule is there always has to be robots and donuts in the painting.
That's a good rule. That's funny if a person, maybe they weren't familiar with your art for some reason, and they approach you, they're like, okay, I heard this guy's great at art, and he doesn't know about the donut and the robot thing, and then at the end of the thing you're like, all right, but the two rules, or the one rule is you have to have a donut and robots somewhere on this. I'd like to see his face or her face.
That would be funny. Yep.
Okay, so you got your commissions down in the beginning. How was it like selling your first painting or creation? Was it?
It took a while, actually.
I bet.
How was it paint the first sale, you say?
Yeah, and what did you paint? And then like if you remember, perhaps your first sale, and then how did that go about? And was that the moment you said, "Whoa, I'm a professional painter"?
Oh yeah, probably back in 2003 when I was part of a group show. What was it? Jeez, it's a little fuzzy now.
Too many.
The whole thing. It started off with a big bang, Like I did 10 paintings, and I didn't sell any of them, and because there was no donut in it, and I think that's why. But
wait, there was just robots, or no?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, the first 10.
Okay, first 10.
It's called the pre-donut era, and that lasted for about 2 or 3 years, I think. It's like, I was doing so much work back between 1999 and 2003. I was doing a series of paintings of San Francisco buildings. I did like 50 of them.
Oh.
And I also had this idea to do research old cartoons from old newspapers. I'd take one panel and turn it into an impressionistic painting. And those were really popular, but I was afraid about getting sued because I wanted to start my own limited edition print line. And I knew all these cartoons were owned by King Syndicate. And so though I didn't sell any of the robot paintings, people liked them. But eventually I had to make it more interesting. And after a lot of deep soul searching, I came up with donuts,
That's got to be your quote. I was going to ask you, do you have a quote? Like, that's great.
Yeah. So, anyways, and then I don't know, within a year maybe, I was already, because of the internet, I was already known around the world as a robot guy, and I got a mysterious email from a guy who had a humor blog called The Sneeze.
Hmm.
And so he said, "Hey man, why don't you never done Rock'em Sock'em Robots? Why don't you do that? Send me the work in progress, and I'll post it on my blog. I get 100,000 people a month looking at my blog." And I said, "Well, I have nothing to lose." I was flat broke. And I said, "Sure, I'll do it." So I did it, and it turned out that this guy was a writer for a TV show, Zoe 101.
Zoe 101?
Yeah. And then he went on to write for iCarly, I think, and then, of course, The Big Bang Theory. But anyways, so I, at the end of the project in December, I was totally broke, and I said, "Hey, man, why don't you want to buy this painting off me?" So I sold it for $1,000.
Wow.
Get these, Rock'em Sock'em Robots fighting. And there's this huge crowd of robots, and just one single robot is eating a donut.
I envisioned it in my head. I probably actually have seen it, but I'm just like thinking about it. That's great.
Yeah. Anyways, so I submitted it to an international art contest, and I'd forgotten about it because you have to wait like a year for a response, and then like a year later, sure enough, I got an email from somebody in Texas that said congratulating me because the painting made the cover of the art book, this international art book. The very same painting that I did for the Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and so that was like the incredible moment right there. After that, it was just like art shows and commissions.
So let's stay on that moment. Yeah. But I want to hear more about that moment. Where were you when you heard that, and what went through your mind? Did you celebrate? What did you do?
Well, I was just in my art studio between taking a break, and I checked my email, and there it was. And then they said, they actually made it as an ad in Juxtaposed magazine. So I went out and bought the magazine, and there it was. I couldn't believe it.
Wow, that's great. That's a wonderful moment.
Yeah. I practically fell out of my chair. It was just really startling.
And before that, you made some money, of course, like painting things and stuff, but not that way, and not like that.
Yeah, I was an illustrator.
Okay.
So I learned all the skills being making deadlines and doing all kinds of weird assignments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not as pure from your robotic heart.
Yeah. So that was the first sale.
Wow.
And then my next sale to follow up was to the vice president of Nike tennis shoes. Bought like 5-10 paintings. Because he's a huge art collector.
That's great. Did you get any extra compensation via Nike shoes or something, or sportswear?
No.
Oh.
No.
Maybe I'm a little like risk taker, but I would always try to get extra stuff from people like that.
Well, he offered I could come up and visit him. That's about it. He has a big barn full of, it's like an art museum.
Oh, that's cool.
I suppose I could have finagled a deal, but I was just happy to make some money.
Yeah. No, I know. That's great. Yeah, the moment, the shift. Now, did you, after that you said, started getting more of your art in galleries, like larger ones? Or did that help you kind of rocket you off?
Definitely. The guy from Nike, he saw my ad because I was in a big group show at the La Luz de Jesus on Hollywood Boulevard, and they put an ad out in a Juxtaposed magazine, and he saw that ad and he bought a bunch of paintings.
Wow. Great.
But actually, the owner of the gallery bought a painting or two as well. Yeah, I'm trying to think back now. Yeah, it was like 6 months later. I was reduced down to a 4-person show. First, I was in a huge group show, and then somebody bought my paintings, and then they put me in this 4-person show, and that's when Mark Parker from Nike bought. much.
And so how did you get into, okay, yeah, what was the process, though, getting your first painting into like a show or a public place where someone could purchase it?
Well, I went to the La Luz de Jesus website, and I looked up their submission policy. And, they said to send in 35 millimeter slides. They didn't even use JPEGs in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
And, they said, yeah, you can be in the show.
That easy. Just send me, if you have good work, you submit it, and they reviewed it. It wasn't like a back and forth process where you had to push, right?
I'm at a loss for words about how. I just remember I submitted some slides. It's called Everything. It used to be called Everything But the Kitchen Sink, and it would be held every spring. And it's been going on since like 1990, I think, and it launched many careers.
I'd love to do an experiment and take like 6 months of painting and then submit somewhere just for fun. And I've never had aspirations to ever submit like because I've drawn in the past and done some little art pieces like that, but I've never got to paint. But it sounds fun right now. I'm getting excited about that.
Yeah,
people looking at your stuff.
I did a little bit of research because it is competitive.
Of course.
I bought a bunch of art magazines, and I looked at which ads appealed to me the most, and I said I want to go in that gallery. And so then I went to the website and I looked at all the other artists, and it basically told myself I had to be different. I mean, similar but unique to what everybody else is doing, and stand out in order to stand out from the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I told myself I had to be, well, not so much technically better, but just, I don't know. I like to be expressive with the paint, and just be a good technician. Also, craftsman. I like to be good, but I also want to have good ideas. So it's just everything,
Yeah, that's great. It sounds a lot of like effort and input and also purities in that, which is great.
Luckily, I have no. I had a lot of debt, but I didn't have a lot of any other responsibilities, so I could just focus on it. And I lived in a really cheap situation, so
that's important. Yeah, as an artist starting out, to be able to focus and not be overwhelmed with all those other responsibilities that creep up so easily.
There were many distractions that could have easily, made a different person stop painting. I had many distractions.
Yeah.
But I just said, screw it. I'm going to do my art, and that's it.
Was there anything specific, if you take a moment to think about it, that actually helped you continue? And because I think in every artist's life there's that moment of like, oh my God, like I know I love this, but what am I doing? Where am I going?
Well, I think it's been with me my whole life. It's like I just wanted to really be good at something, and I want to contribute to society somehow, and I just wanted to be a success, and I never wanted a family, and I never wanted normal things that people want out of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to just pour all of my thoughts into it, and I still do, but I'm starting to enjoy life a little more now.
Yeah, sometimes that takes time as an artist. I would have to concur.
A lot of people say you don't have to be a sufferer to be an artist. I don't know. I think you do.
Yeah, you got to go through some of that. And suffrage is our greatest teacher, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you also learn from your mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now,
if you do, it'll increase your chances.
Yeah.
Learn from your mistakes.
Definitely. Okay, two things, and many more. So, have you ever done a painting, like an angry painting with donuts and robots? Like maybe you were like just enraged some month, and you just I don't know.
I did. I can think of two.
Oh, that's awesome. Can you describe one of them or two?
Well, it's kind of angry, but I always try to have another emotion, evoke another emotion at the same time. But there's one of a robot. It's called Clearing of the Tilfathian Fields. And it's just a robot stomping on donuts and shooting lasers at them. He's pissed off.
That's great.
And some of the donuts are just flattened out. And yeah, I stomped on some donuts to really get it down, do the research, see what they look like.
Oh, yeah, you did it yourself?
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, man. I wish you did that in public and people were watching, like, what's this guy doing? And they're crying. The mothers are crying. Hey, that'd be good in a film, like a movie scene somehow.
It would.
I'll write that down and I'll note you from it.
And another one was just a really, human hand is very expressive. So if you curl your fingers and turn the palm upward, like really angry expression with your hands.
Mm-hmm.
I have a giant hand, like the hand of God, being really pissed off. And then this, right below it is this little robot sitting inside of a donut. So I don't know what it means. But
wow, that's
yeah. So, and it's really dark. I use dark colors. And a lot of texture too. It's different than all my other.
What's the piece called? Or
geez, I forgot. I did it a few years ago.
Okay.
I've only done 350 of these paintings.
Only 350. That's a great repertoire.
Yeah.
Really, that's very cool. What's the word? Felicitations?
I'm not sure.
Very cool. Okay. Now, if I was to buy a piece of canvas and buy some paint, what would you suggest how I start out? And not only some of the materials, but also the mindset?
Well, for many years I never used canvas. What I would do is I'd go to the hardware store or lumber store and just get like a 1/8 piece of Luan board or birch. Baltic birch is the best, but it's more expensive but it is smoother. And you can get a 1/4 inch thick, and then you have the guys at the lumber yard cut it up for you, the pieces that you can take home. But you also need to get these the cradle. I know this is if you want to make your own and save money.
I like that, yeah.
Which is what I did. I would do entire art shows for many years. And the materials cost me like $200, including paint and glue. And then anyways, you cut the pieces of 1 by 2 inch by 1 inch Doug fir or basswood is the best. You glue it to the back, and you cut like it's like making a frame. What do you call those diagonal cuts? You need a miter saw.
Miter saw.
You can get a cheap one for $25, or you can get a power one for like $80.
And that will help make the easel? The frame, sorry.
The cradle, it's like a 45 angle cut. So
okay.
And then you glue it to the back of the big plywood, the big Luan board or birch. Then you sand it to get the splinters off. And then after that, you can gesso it, white gesso, give it a ground. What that does when you're painting, I'm not sure why they do it, but I think for me, it slows down the drying process of the paint. It has to pass, because you can think of the wood as like a sponge, and it dries the paint out fast. But I think the gesso and then subsequent fixative will prevent the drying out process. And anyways, after that, you got to have oil paints, and it's very expensive. I have some tubes of paint that cost $125 for a tube of paint. Very small tube, like some of the purple and cobalt colors.
Wow. Well, now what's an alternative of that could still be good that isn't 100 per tube?
Well, there's different brands, and some are more expensive than others. So just go for the cheaper brands, I guess.
But oil is the way to start.
Yeah. Well, And I actually use a regular traditional oils as well as alkyds. And alkyds are synthetic oil that dry faster because sometimes I do want the paint to dry fast. And then you can mix them together to make you can adjust the drying time from 1 hour to say 4 days. And it's a lot of guesswork, it just comes with practice. How much alkyd to mix in with the regular oil.
Wow, no wonder you were a starving artist. Any money went to the oils.
Yeah.
That's great. So I didn't. The first thing that comes to mind is like, gotta go get a canvas and get some paint. But I like that idea. That's more hands-on, and you're creating the thing that you're going to create on. I really love that.
Yeah, if you go out and buy pre-made wood panels, it's very expensive too.
Yeah. That's cool.
You can do a whole bunch of them really cheap. If you just go, you get it. The sheets come in like 9 by 4 foot sheets. And they'll cut them into sections so they'll fit in your car. But anyway, beyond that, you should really think about what it is you want to do. You can break it down into categories like landscape or just surreal or still life or portraits. And I would write it down and also make a list of your personal rules on how to become an artist. That's what I did.
That's great.
Yeah.
What is your list comprise of?
Well, I had like 5 of them, and one of them was like first one was like be unique, and the second was has to be within my abilities. Number 3, I had to be able to other people have to like it. And number 4 was something like it has to be some subject I can do for 30 years. I mean, I wouldn't get bored after 30 years.
That is probably the best rule I've heard. Wow.
Yeah, and also because it makes you really think hard. Because if you want to, I think it's so important to brand yourself as an artist. Otherwise, you'll just be forgotten.
Yeah.
And it'll never catch on.
Yeah, that's like a beautiful thought and a scary thought as an artist. Because that's what, I mean, why do we do our art? To contribute and to express. And we do want to be remembered. I mean, everyone wants that,
We all want to have something we want to tell the world or communicate. And painting is just another way of communication. And so that's the good thing about art. If you can actually tell the world what you're thinking. Done. But what was the 5th rule? Let's see. I wrote it. This list back in 1999, and I can't remember. But I think there was 5 rules.
That's great to have rules. I was just hearing something about rules and how they're great, and they can work for you as long as you remember that you're the one that made them. You don't have to.
I think one of the rules is the idea, whatever the subject, has to evolve over time. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make my painting, that's growing and changing in very small increments.
Yeah.
But a good reason to have rules is this. I'll tell you why. Is because if you think about it, the world is really huge, and there's a billion things, a billion possibilities. You have to narrow it down. Otherwise, you'll never get started.
Yeah. Makes so much sense.
And, you have to do something with your life, your time here on Earth.
Yeah. That reminds me, you have to do something. There is the James Dean movie, A Rebel Without a Cause, I think. James Dean asked the other actor that he was fighting, he's like, why do we do this? And he goes, you got to do something. It was just cool. I don't know, that flashed back for some reason.
Yep. Well, it's true.
Well put, Eric. That's so... It resonates with me.
Good.
What about donuts in Korea?
Oh, yeah. Well, I got an email from a young lady from like an agency in Korea. They do things a little different there. I guess she was like an agent, that's all. But instead of an ad agency calling me, it's like a rep group called me, and they. I guess it's sort of like an ad agency, but I don't know. There's a lot lost in translation, you know. But I thought it was a joke at first because I get so many crank emails.
Really?
Yeah, you know, scams.
Oh, I thought you meant like crank emails about donuts and stuff. Like, hey, I have a lot of donuts. Can you deliver them or something?
Well, every so often, not quite as funny. No. But they wanted me to sign some contracts eventually. And at first, they kept at me for a full year, and then finally, this spring, they actually wanted to start working with Dunkin' Donuts to do a campaign to redesign the cups and the boxes, the donut boxes, and the drinking beverage cups. And so, it's just really frustrating because I have other commitments. I had this art show at Corey Helford in Los Angeles, and I've been working with them for, I don't know, maybe 10 years or more.
Mm-hmm.
Over 10 years. And I really like them, and we work really well together. But how do you turn down Dunkin' Donuts
in Korea?
Yeah, well, especially when you know how many shops they have there?
Oh my gosh, that's right, huh?
They have 700.
Wow.
And they wanted to put my art in all of them.
So what's the verdict? What happened?
Well, I ended up designing a whole bunch of cups and boxes.
Oh,
and they loved.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it was a big success.
Oh.
And then they had a big art show as well. Crazy. It was just it went over the top, but promotion.
Have you been to Korea?
No, I haven't.
Wow, that would be an experience if you went over there and you just got to see all the shops and the cups.
The big party was like a week before my show in LA, so I couldn't go.
I want to go, and I plan to in the future, so I will look out for those Eurobots on the donut cups. That's great.
Well, but just so you know, if you ever come to my studio, I can show them to you because they sent me a bunch of them.
Oh, I'd love that.
But I'm not even sure. I think it was just a 1-month campaign. So I'm not even.
And then we're gonna go in a couple years. We'll make a trip of it, you and I, and there's gonna be like donuts and robots, big huge figurines over there. It's like they made a whole world of you, and you don't even know it. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, it would. Well, it's funny you should say that because one day, here in San Francisco, we have this thing called ArtSpan, and they promote open studios for art studios, so the public can come check out art studios, and artists can sell their prints and paintings and whatever. One day, guess who walks in? It's the creator of the Google platform, Android.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's a big robot fan. So he buys a whole bunch of stuff, right? And he asked me to deliver a painting to his house in this really expensive neighborhood. So I do that, and his place is filled with robots. And he did a little demonstration with helicopters flying around with robots. Anyways, guess what happened 6 months later? In front of somebody sent me a photograph of the headquarters of Google, and out in the front yard, they built a gigantic robot and a gigantic donut, and as well as a cupcake.
Wow!
And they named all of their these different aspects of Android after desserts, but they used a giant donut next to the little Android robot. I couldn't believe it, and I think he felt guilty. That's why he bought all that stuff off me. He knew he was going to do it. But he never would admit it. Never said anything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Whoa. And when was that?
Well, right before Android came out.
Oh, okay. So 2000 something, early.
Yeah. It maybe 2010. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Or that sounds close to being right. I remember I went on a road trip around then, and I didn't have like the smartphone Android, and then I remember I got it was like the X, Android X. I think was the big thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. It could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been coincidence, but the guy I'm talking about, he was like the designer of the platform, so, and he had like 100 engineers underneath him.
Wow.
Doing all the work. So.
Robotic inspiration, though. I mean, that's still a great thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hold begrudge it. I'm happy it all worked out.
And then after this interview, you're gonna stomp donuts in rage. No, just kidding. I actually think the next time, I don't like wasting food, but I think I'm gonna have to film me stomping donuts, and I'm gonna send it to you. Because that's it. That's very interesting. Okay, what about when everything is overwhelming and you've seen too many donuts, too many robots, and you wanna zoom out of that world and recharge? Anything particular you do that you can share?
It doesn't matter what it's just long anything that takes your mind off of it, But I jump in the car and go somewhere, go to the beach, or play sports or pool. I like to play pool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I haven't played in a while. That can be very methodical.
Yeah, it's a lot of physics and concentration and a little bit of competition, and there's people to look at. It's just fun, I think.
Do you go to a pool hall, or do you have a personal place you go to with your friends, or your own place?
Well, there's different bars here in San Francisco you can go to.
Cool. Yeah, I like the sound of when you break the pool balls. It's a great sound.
I know, yeah. So, yeah, and what else do I do? Beyond that, just traveling or going visit people, whatever.
So people, you're are you more of an extrovert or introvert when it comes to that?
I think I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
But
small groups.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't. I prefer one-on-one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I have a difficult time talking with several people at the same time. Mm-hmm. I don't know why.
Well, I think it is difficult, kind of, because there's so much energy, 5 brains in a room.
But we were talking about, what do you do to start art? We didn't really finish that up.
Oh, yeah.
I talked materials a little bit. Other than that, I would say do research. I don't know, it just depends on what direction you want to. If you want to do abstract art, then of course you don't need to do any research, unless you want to just see what other abstract artists have done in the past. Mm-hmm. It's good to know what went on before you, because I think you don't want to copy anybody, and you don't want to repeat the past. You want to try and be original. And for me, I'm a realistic painter, but I also like surrealism. So I looked into, and I combine that with other things in life that I like. And as time goes on, I'm discovering I like other things. Like first it was just donuts, and then it became like motorcycles and scooters and kaiju from big monsters from Japan, and film noir. And turns out I like mountains and jungles, and so it's been a discovery.
That's
really
great. Yeah, and you can just throw it all in there when you want. That's great.
And key is, you have to have a thread. What do you call it? Connecting thread to all of it over the years, which is robots and donuts. And so, yeah, and also you have to be good at photography. There's so much to business. It's a huge. You have to be a business person. You have to have a website. You have to have social media. You have to be good with the camera. And
yeah, a lot more to it than just stroking a paintbrush.
Yeah, before you know it, and also you have to branch out into other areas of income so you can survive. Like for me, it was making limited edition prints.
So the print shop, you said you run a print place.
Well, it's just I have a gigantic printer in my office, my art studio, and I do limited editions on that. And also 2 or 3 times a year, I open up my studio to the public. It becomes like a gallery. People come and buy stuff. And it really helps out. And also, as time goes, as luck would have it, people purchase licensing rights. First time rights, whatever. And that helps
What kind of printer do you have? Out of curiosity.
I have an Epson 9900. It has like 11 giant cartridges of ink, which costs like $1,200 just to put the ink in.
I can imagine. Damn, that's cool. Yeah, it's nice to have your own phenomenal printer, I'm sure.
Well, it's not that expensive. It was like $4,500, but the guy at the shop gave me a discount to $3,500.
Ooh, that's a good deal.
They get you on the paper and the ink. So.
Yeah. Well, hey, it takes a business to get a business, to run a business, to find a business. It's all these, that's how it is. And what else? What about some mentors that you looked up to, or some resources that you were invaluable to you?
When I went to art college, I learned a lot about what went on before in the world of illustration. See, I wanted to be just a hack to do other people's ideas. I thought that was the way, but I was wrong. But I from that world of illustration, commercial illustration, I learned about N.C. Wyeth and J.C. Leyendecker and Dean Cornwell, Norman Rockwell, and because back in those days, people really got paid a lot to do artwork. It was like back between 1895 and 1930, those were the movie stars of today, and so they were very wealthy, and that's why the paintings are so great. They got paid for it. And around 1965, the payment to artists or commercial artists leveled out, and it didn't go up ever. It just flattened and went down. And that's around 1999. That's when I took the jump into fine art, because it was just a very unhappy life being an illustrator for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see how that can affect you.
Mm-hmm. But those guys are really great. And I have their art books, and I look at the painting, and I try to actually, the more expressive guys, I try to use that in my work today.
And when you start a project, what's the ambience like in your studio?
It's really quiet. I'm out in a defunct naval shipyard called Hunters Point Shipyard, and there's about 200 units in the building. It's an old Navy administration building, and nobody ever comes to work there. I don't know why. I think because they're all like Sunday painters, but I maybe see 2 people a day, or 1 person. Of course, I spend a lot of time in my room, so maybe that's why I don't see anybody. Maybe they are there. But, anyways, it's very quiet, and I can see the water, and I can see the largest gantry on the West Coast out my window. It was used to pull the turrets off of battleships. And I don't know. It's just very, play a little music, check my emails, and any number of things can happen. And every day's a little different.
Is the lighting, do you try to have even lighting on whatever you're painting, or is there sometimes you change it up?
Oh, that's one complaint I have is I have a really large studio. Well, it's like 850 square feet. And that's big for San Francisco. And it's got a wood floor, but it's got southwest lighting, so the lighting is too bright. I can't paint in direct sunlight. In the winter, it's worse between fall and spring. The light just. So what I have to do is put up translucent, like a curtains, translucent paper and stuff so it's more diffused.
Okay, yeah. So it spreads it like evenly, and it's not harsh, right?
Yeah. So ideally, you want north light coming in, but I don't have that. I don't have north light.
And now I have the question about Mad Magazine.
Oh yeah, that was a huge, pleasant I mean, it was bad timing, but I was so, honored to do it because when I was a kid, I used to read it, and I still have my old copies in storage. But yeah, they recently moved from New York to I think Pasadena, yeah, and or it could be one of those cities. There's so many little towns in northern LA, right?
Yeah.
It could be Burbank. I can't remember, but so they decided to totally recreate the magazine and change the logo and start at number 1. So I got to do issue number 2.
That's
And,
great. I remember that's where I met you at the gallery. I remember seeing that on the wall. It was really, really cool. I think that's why I went to talk with you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Well, they're going to do a little blurb, and it came out like on yesterday, I guess. Yeah, the 28th. The subscribers got the latest issue. I guess it's number 5, 1, 2, or 4, and they actually have a photo from that show and me next to the painting. I think I haven't got the issue yet, but yeah. So that's going to be good promotion for the Kickstarter, I hope.
Definitely.
But I was a little bit disappointed I didn't get to do Alfred E. Newman's face. I had just his feet, the bottom of his feet, and with some gum on his shoe and a donut on the sidewalk. But it's an appropriate issue because they just moved close to Hollywood, so they wanted to do a nod to Hollywood.
I see.
But they decided to, instead of famous actors from history, they put in the famous artists from Mad Magazine, drawn in the concrete, the signatures.
Yeah.
In front of the Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Famous.
Yeah, we went back and forth on that. It was they were so scared, and they wanted it to be so great. So a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And of course, it happened right when I'm doing the Dunkin' Donuts project, and while I'm doing corrections on a commission that's a whole other story, nightmare. And then also I was trying to do my art for the show in a big art show at Corey Alford. And the painting I shipped to a client, I had beeswax varnish that melted it just was a huge mess.
Oh.
So they sent it back, and I had to scrape it all off and repaint a bit of it, and then revarnish it with a good varnish, not stupid beeswax. I was experimenting. Mm-hmm. I get myself in trouble when I experiment too much.
But it's good. It's good to know, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. But the magazine, everybody liked it, and I got to go visit their new headquarters. That was really cool. They gave me some swag.
Nice.
Yeah. And they want me to do another cover someday, soon. Oh, and then later on, I went to Comic-Con. I always have a booth at Comic-Con, and I got to meet the staff, and I met one of my favorite artists, Sergio Aragones. He's like, I don't know, maybe 90, and he's been doing drawings since like 62.
Wow. That's great.
He was a great guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's been a really good experience. And they're looking for more talent, if you want to submit work to them. If you think you're funny and you can draw something.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I should put that, I should find the link or the information and put it in the show notes. Yeah. So people listening.
Mm-hmm, they have a website, and you can get the app for they're owned by DC Comics. And I think the way you do it is you download the DC app and you find Mad Magazine in there.
And Eric, what about have people told you they want to be an artist or they want to do stuff creative and they say, I'm just not creative? What would you say to those people?
They want to be artists, but they're not creative?
They say they're not creative.
Well, I don't try to talk them into anything. People are going to you have to believe in yourself.
Okay.
first and foremost. And I don't know. Haven't been asked that question a lot. I get that what I do here is I can't draw a straight line, or I can't draw a stick figure. And that's all I can do is a stick figure. And I just laugh. I don't what am I they're not really asking advice or anything. They're just telling me I can't do it. But I really think people can get pretty good at it. What you do is you just take some nude figure or clothed figure drawing classes somewhere in town and draw from the figure. That's actually really fun. I think it's therapeutic.
Yeah, and I've seen that's the classic. They're in the art class and then there's a nude person just standing in the middle.
Yeah, you can't make a living at it, but it's fun and it's good. Of course, to be an artist, you got to know how to. At least they're realistic. You got to know how to draw. That's like a fundamental thing. And to learn perspective and atmosphere and color. But the main thing is drawing. It doesn't. One thing I've learned is color isn't really. If you want to make a nice painting, look realistic. You can use any color, but it's the value that really is important. And the value is like the shade from light to dark.
It's all brewing. It's all brewing in the mind. How it works. It's cool. Yeah, I haven't spent, like I said, too much time just like contemplating about how it works. That's why it's great to speak with you about all this.
Yeah, anytime.
And what about any pieces of art that you think listeners should definitely take a look at? Besides, of course, your own. Anything like that you must. You haven't really seen art? You haven't been to an art show? Check out this.
Well, one thing I'm a very traditional kind of painter. I just have weird ideas. But my favorite galleries are all back east. The museums like in Cincinnati or New York. Or there's a little town called Chadds Ford in Pennsylvania. And they have it's called the Brandywine Museum. And that's some of the greatest painting in the world right there. From the Brandywine School. And then I don't know if it's still there, but the Frank Frazetta had a museum in Pennsylvania as well. It's like a couple hours north of Chadds Ford. But I think it may be closed now. Because he died and there's all kinds of trouble. Other than that, there's a museum in Delaware, Wilmington Museum. And I've been to the Philadelphia, where Rocky raises his arms on the steps.
Yeah.
That Philadelphia Museum of Art is a good one.
Nice.
And, I saw some good work in L.A. At the one out near the La Brea Tar Pits. Is that the LACMA?
Yes.
Okay.
Any specific pieces of art people could perhaps look up on the internet? Maybe a piece that you always think of or always comes to mind?
I don't know. I go through these phases, and I find some commercial artists work really fast, like they used to do pulp covers for books. And there's some great ones, I keep once a year I'll discover a new one. Some guy who did 100 or 200 or 300 book covers I never knew about in the sci-fi genre or crime genre or something, and they're really, really, really great. And sometimes I'll look at their work and I think, how can I do that in my work?
Nice.
You just have. It's easy enough to go on the internet and just type in a few words and then go to images.
So much out there. Yeah.
I would say book cover illustration, sci-fi best of. I really like science fiction art. I have to admit, because it's looking into the future. It's very imaginative, and if it's well crafted, it's just very enjoyable for me.
Thought provoking for sure.
Yeah. Because that stuff's hard to do. It's very, very difficult.
And your website, where can people check out your work and find you?
Oh, that's pretty easy. Just if you forget my name, Eric Joyner, ericjoyner.com, just Google robots and donuts, and there'll be a plethora of imagery.
And as far as the social media aspect, where can they
the
find
best. I would recommend going to ericjoyner.com and then go scrolling to the bottom. There's links to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
you? Okay.
And that's the easiest way.
Great. Now, a couple more questions before we wrap up.
All right.
What is there, if you can think about it, is there one word that you would like to work on or you're constantly working on to improve yourself that might also be beneficial to those around you?
What, one word?
Yeah.
Dedication? I don't know. Oh, no. How about begins with a D, and it's called I think maybe it is is it dedication?
You're pretty dedicated, I think.
Oh, no, discipline. That's it. It's so easy to be undisciplined. So that's, if we can work on that, you'll be glad if you can control that aspect of life.
Yeah, that's a great word. What are some things that put you back on the discipline train when you get off?
I know sometimes it's just a good night's sleep, or maybe playing games with yourself, telling you're in big trouble if you don't do this or that, or worrying. Maybe a worry or stress. And if you don't want to face, you think about the consequences of your inaction, and that can usually stimulate me to get to work or be more disciplined.
Yeah, and that could definitely do it.
I don't want to. I spent a year working in a lumber mill, and it was torture, and I don't want to have to go back to that kind of life.
Yeah, I understand. I know what you mean. Yep. Where do you want to be? Where are you going? What's going on?
Well, I would like to just keep on doing what I'm doing. As a side project, I hope to have a computer game. It'd be awesome.
I would love to see that happen.
Because I could see that developing. It would just be a whole new way to experience my paintings.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a lot of fun. And just continuing to paint and travel. And that's about it, really.
What are some favorite places that you've traveled to?
Moscow, Russia. I had an art show there once.
Nice.
Also Madrid, Spain. I had a client there, and I got to see Madrid. In Barcelona, Paris.
Wonderful.
All great places.
Yeah, I want to go to Madrid and work on my Spanish more.
Yeah, I wish I could speak a foreign language, but I'm a typical American.
Hey, it's never too late. There's so many great things out there. And have you ever heard of the app Duolingo?
No.
It is a really fun, innovative app for language learning, and they have so many languages now. So I have it for Spanish, and I haven't started yet, but when I'm ready, I'm gonna get on the Japan learning language.
Yeah. That's where I'd love to visit. I hear so many great things about Japan.
Yeah, I almost visited there last year, but I had to go to different areas of Asia. Yeah, you should check that app out. It's fun, and it's not overwhelming, and it's like something to do. To be blunt, like if you're on the toilet, you're just like, hey, instead of thumbing through some of the other things that are just waste of time, it's really fun. And I won't get off the toilet till I finish the little quiz it has. And it has little fun noises, and if you're in a public restroom, people are probably wondering what the hell's going on in there.
Oh, interesting. Duolingo.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll put that in the show notes too, so when you check that out, and when anyone listening checks it out, you can have some fun with that.
Cool, thanks.
And what's one step people can take now that may help them to get deeper into their passions or start their passions, whether any creative avenue?
Oh, that's for me. It's like you have to look at or listen to or experience art that you want to do by other established people that are succeeding. Look at what they're doing, and if it really makes you happy or gets you inspired, like when I look at other artists from the old days, it gets me really fired up. Even the post-impressionists. If go to the museum and I see it, it just makes me want to go home and paint. So that's what I recommend, looking at great artists in the particular field.
And letting them inspire you and not putting you in like a little sad hole of depression. Because I think sometimes it could do either or to people, right?
Well, I suppose the only thing that really makes me depressed is when I see somebody, well, back when I was young in art school, that was the worst. You know, somebody, you know, your direct competition is doing better than you. That's depressing. But you have to fight that and just, you know, learn from and try to be better. That's
it's
all.
a challenge. And that challenge is within yourself, which will, I think, definitely push to get better and to do more and just keep chipping away. And I mean, my professor he called it Kahn's Law. Just keep doing things and you have to get better.
That's true. Yeah.
There's no way.
Just, so true. My teachers told me the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been very fun and donut inspiring and robots and stuff. I usually on Sundays I sometimes will just indulge and have whatever I want. So perhaps tomorrow I will hit a donut up.
There you go. It'll brighten your day.
Yeah. Now, when's your next art show and where's what's with that? What's happening with that and where?
Well, I tentatively agreed to be in a group show in London, but I'm gonna try to get out of it, I think.
Okay.
But other than that, I have a whole bunch of commissions I got to complete.
Yeah.
And then I think it's my next big show in LA is in I think the spring of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that's me. So.
Do you know the venue yet? The place?
Corey Helford Gallery.
Okay. Wonderful.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't think I have anything going on.
Great. Any last words to people listening?
Thanks for listening, and I wish you the best in whatever your endeavors are. May you be a success.
Great words. And thank you so much for taking the time to have this wonderful conversation.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
Thank you so much. What are you doing for the rest of the day?
I have to go work on a commission. I'm doing this gigantic picture of robots on a golf course.
Nice. It makes everything awesome. We should just start putting up. Maybe in the future we'll have like robots just play and donuts like placed randomly throughout our cities, because I think it makes like life a little more like, oh yeah, it's fun. Things are cool. Things are okay.
Yep.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you're out there, and I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, Eric. So, thanks again.
Thank you, Tony.
Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, please show your support by taking a few moments and leaving a positive review on iTunes or Stitcher. It would mean a lot to me. It's like giving me an electronic hug or kiss. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Unfake It Till You Make It podcast. For detailed sources and show notes for this episode, visit www.unfakeittillyoumakeit.com. Until next time, get up, get going, and get creative.